Hey there. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. I am your host, Paulette Rees-Denis, here to bring you magic makers from around the globe, people who are creating change, who have small businesses, large businesses, hobbies, but they are creating the life of their dreams. And that, my friends, is what living is all about. So let us know how you like this episode. Please subscribe, and we'll see you there. Thanks for joining. All right. Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionaries, Healers, Movers, and Shakers. And I am your host, Paulette Rees-Denis. So happy to be with you again in this time of the world. It's kind of a crazy world out there.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
I know, right? And we are here to talk about living. And I'm so happy to have Deb here with me today. Deb Krier is here from Atlanta. Hi, welcome.
Hello. I am so honored and delighted to be here.
Yay, yay, we did it. We did
Yeah,
it.
it took several tries, right?
Yeah,
But as we say, life happens.
yeah, we're good. We're so good. So, for those of you who are new to me, I am a lifestyle coach for creatives. I also run a global dance company. I'm a poet. I've published 4 books. I am here to empower women to live fullest, to dance with their desires, to live their dreams and change their voice and bring their voices out because we need that more than ever.
Oh boy, howdy.
Yeah. And I know you got a lot to say about
hmm
that.
hmm
So Deb, why
hmm
don't you tell us a little bit about what's happening for you?
All right. Well, I'll give you the nutshell version because it's kind of long and detailed. So I've gone merrily along in life, and have my own business. It's called Wise Women Communications. It's a full service marketing firm. Married, no kids, 4 dogs, 2 cats. I mean, all these various things, right? And in 2015, went and had my annual mammogram, and it came back as questionable. And so they made me have another mammogram. Those are such fun to have the first time. So we really want to do them again, right? And I had microcalcifications, which I did the thing that I never tell people to do. I looked it up on Google, right? And Dr. Google informed me that all women of a certain age get these things as the hormones change in our bodies. It's just, we get these things. Obviously, the vast majority of time, there is no issue, but I'm special. And so mine had started to coalesce. And so they said I had stage 0 breast cancer, which basically meant, hey, we're just going to watch it. There's, nothing that we're concerned about. So we did that for several months. And finally, a surgeon said, let's go ahead and pull some lymph nodes. Let's just make sure that we're, and I didn't even have an oncologist, right? Because nobody had told me I needed one. And so the diagnosis came back that 8 of 12 lymph nodes were positive for cancer. So I went from stage 0 to stage 3, poof, right? And then I had to get an oncologist. So because these little spiegly things were floating throughout my body, she decided, and now I decided on the traditional approach. But one of the things that I tell people is you absolutely have to pick what is going to work for you. If you don't think that chemo surgery, if that's not for you, then don't do that. You have to advocate for yourself. But I had worked for an oncologist and I worked for the American Cancer Society, so I know just enough to be dangerous. And I decided on the traditional approach. So we were going to do chemo, followed by surgery, followed by radiation. And the very first chemo, because it was so massive, because these things were floating throughout my body, just about did me in. I ended up several days later in septic shock, and my body was shutting down. The doctors were arguing over how fast I was going to die that day,
Oh, gosh.
and I remember thinking, okay, I can hear you. They were out in the hall, and hello, I get to vote. you know, and so obviously they decided on the course of treatment that would save my life, and but I spent 7 weeks in the hospital, in and out of ICU, in and out of a lot of surgeries. And I tell people my scars have scars, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't have my scars. So I'm cool with my scars. And so, obviously, I recovered from that. And I had decided to have a double mastectomy without reconstructive surgery. Obviously, again, true personal choice, but I'm old and I didn't want to go through any of that. And so
well, you're not that old, right?
I know. Yeah. If I was 30, let me put it this way. If I was 30, it might have been a very different decision, especially, if you were still in the dating world and all of those things, right? But I was like, nah, don't need those things anyway. So, got a complication from that my surgeon had never seen, right? You're catching the thread that I'm special. And we did try chemo again, had the exact same reaction, but this time we knew what to look for. And so I only spent a week in the hospital. And then the ship kind of righted. I did have radiation, sailed through radiation. I mean, it was incredible how well I did, especially because I am a redhead. And I sunburn when I go to the mailbox. And so they were quite concerned. But I used some really good oils, holistic lotions, all sorts of things. Did it make a difference? Well, I didn't burn. So, something worked. And then, I just kind of kept going on. Now, along the way, my diagnosis was changed because we did have a bone test that came back as inconclusive. So my official diagnosis is stage 4, triple positive metastatic breast cancer. Stage 4 is not considered curable. Now, it might go away and never come back. Or not come back for years, or who knows. But it's just kind of that shadow that's always there. So went merrily along. I worked almost this entire time because as long as I have my phone, my computer, and hospitals have really good Wi-Fi, so I just kept going merrily along. I did develop a second cancer, basal cell carcinoma, which is a skin cancer. No big deal, really. It is more than likely caused by this redheaded, freckly kid that never knew what sunscreen was. And so it was on my arm, easy to treat. Now I do get to go to the dermatologist every 6 months for, as I call it, the strip and spin. And anybody who's ever gone through those knows what I'm talking about, right? And then 2 years ago, I mentioned to my oncologist that I had some pain. We did a CAT scan, hadn't done one in quite a while. And that turned up thyroid cancer. And so that was a totally new third cancer. I had my thyroid removed. We caught it very early. Life goes on. I'm still in active treatment. I go in every 21 days. Very happy to report that after 9 years, they removed the port in my shoulder. And now I get injections rather than infusions. But this entire time, you just keep going, right?
Well, you do if you make that decision.
Yes. And that is very much, I mentioned that I worked for an oncologist, and this would have been 35-ish years ago. And I loved him. I actually thought, I'm in Atlanta, he's in Denver, where we used to live. I thought about going back to him. And then I realized he's probably 90. But I remember he would tell patients, now I was office staff. I don't have medical training. But he would tell his new patients, 99% of this is in your head. If you believe you will survive, you will survive. If you believe you will die, you will die. Now, we might only be talking 5 days, and he said, but it's how you survive and live in that time frame. And that just has obviously always stuck with me.
Well, and I love that. And your positive retelling of this, it's just like my heart's going, but you are here.
Yeah, I'm here. One of the things people always tell me, they say, "Oh, you're always so happy." When I'm not, people don't know it. My husband does, right? But I'm not. I normally am not one who blasts it to the world. Hey, having a bad day or whatever. But Yeah, it is. It's your mental. Now, I was like this before. This is not something that is new because of my diagnosis, but I did decide how am I going to get through this?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are times where I am a cranky pants, and but I'm also a very strong advocate for my own health. But I do try and laugh and joke about it. There are obviously times where you have to be serious, but if I can make my medical caregivers laugh, I want to make them laugh.
Oh,
They
that's
have
really nice.
really hard job.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I one of the things that I do, what is your name and date of birth? First thing they always ask anytime you go in. And so now if I know them, so they know that I'm joking. If it's somebody new, I don't do this because it totally freaks them out. What is your name? And I look at them and I say, Anastasia Beaverhausen. And in my doctor's office, they've decided it's Princess Anastasia. And so we must do the Queen wave, right? And so, yeah, it really is so much about your attitude in dealing with this.
And dealing with everything.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
mean, you turn on the news. Yeah. Now I turn the news back off.
I go that far. I don't turn it on.
I watch one news program a week. I watch the CBS Sunday morning news because it almost always is almost totally. Now, obviously, it depends on what's really going on in the world. Happy stories and uplifting stories. And so I like those. I know what's going on in the world. I'm not burying my head, but I don't need to know every single detail about it. So you're right. I don't watch the news. Yeah. I get it from Facebook. Right.
True or not true, but yeah.
Oh,
so, I love that you have a site called Trying Not to Die. .live.
Yes, .live.
Which I love, and I love what you have come up with to what LIVE stands for.
It is an acronym, and I mentioned that I am a marketing person. So the Trying Not to Die part comes from the fact that when we get so ill with anything, or sometimes just life, right? We get so caught up in trying to not die that we forget that we need to live. And so when I decided at the urging of my business coach to start this initiative, Trying Not to Die, I am a marketing person. I go to get tryingnottodie.com and it was taken. Oh. How rude, right? And so, when you're in one of those sites that sells URLs, you scroll down because it gives other suggestions, and .live was available. And I was like, okay, duh. Right.
Great. I love it.
So it is an acronym. And so it stands for Lead Your Tribe. I am a warrior, but I'm not alone. I have to have my tribe, right? And so we lead our tribe with whatever it is that we need. We invigorate our souls, and we have to put ourselves first because it is our life on the line. We voice our feelings. We have to be honest. And then we elevate our mindsets with the belief that no matter what, we will be okay.
Yep. I love that. I love that a lot. I love playing with words like that. So lead, invigorate, voice, and elevate.
Yep.
You guys all got that? That's LIVE.
Everybody taking notes?
That's so good. And how, so you still have your marketing firm?
Yes, I do.
So, but you're also helping other women get through this.
Actually, it's anyone. And so the goal of Trying Not to Die.live is to help anyone who is on their journey with cancer, whether they are the warrior or the tribe members. Frequently what I get are people saying, my friend, my sister, my coworker was diagnosed and I don't know what to do. Or doctors, I tell them I am not my diagnosis.
Yes.
You call me by my diagnosis and I get really annoyed. Because that's just a small part. Sometimes it's bigger, but usually it's a small part of who we are. So it's all about building that community and how can we support each other with, whatever. I mentioned I went the traditional route. but many people prefer holistic. I think there's also, I think what we in many cases do is we do a combination, right? So we add yoga, we add meditation. Somebody finally figured out that nutrition is a big part of all of this, right?
Big part. Big
And
part.
right, and I love that that you teach dancing and all of those things, because even though I have 4 left feet, music heals your soul.
Yeah.
Right.
Amen, sister.
Yeah, and so even if you're just a tapping your toe, that's going to help. When I had my port out, it was so funny because I had expected they were going to knock me out. I mean, this is surgery. This thing goes into my heart. But they didn't. And I told him, I said, oh, y'all are going to regret that. And so, they covered my face up. They didn't want me to see what was going on, which was a good thing. But this is around Christmas time. And they had told me, once they got me into this incredibly awkward position, you do not move. Okay. And so the Charlie Brown Christmas song comes on, right? Da, 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 da. And so what do? From under my little drape, I yell, everybody dance. And my toes were going. I mean, that's all I could move was just my toes. And, and pretty soon I said, are y'all dancing? And I heard, ugh. But afterwards they told me, they said, you know what? We loved you. You were a great patient, because I apologized. I'm like, I'm sorry. And they said, no,
Don't apologize.
Yeah. We love that you were here and making us laugh.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Well, that's a beautiful trait that you have, to bring forth that kind of energy and that spirit. I was going to say something else. Oh, what you were saying. And well, nutrition, me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a cook for one thing.
Yes.
I'm vegan,
Mm-hmm.
and I cook for people, and food is so important. And I see so many people just not pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wonder why they hurt, and they
Right.
wonder why they're
Right.
swollen, and they
Mm-hmm.
wonder,
Mm-hmm.
why they're overweight or underweight,
Right.
or,
and I love fast food. I'm a lazy cook, but when I have fast food, I pay for it dearly. And so, yeah, and I'm not a veggie fan. But there are so many ways, and folks, the easiest thing you can do, and you're not going to change anything, more water, drink more water.
Right. Yeah. But, and then I see, sadly, I see people who are diagnosed with something,
Mm-hmm.
and they become their diagnosis, and
Right.
they what the doctor says is gospel. And I'm like,
right.
Man,
Yeah.
not
They're really smart people, but we do not have to do exactly what they say.
Yeah. And they don't have all the answers either.
Right. I know.
And, and it's just like, people who live for that. Now, one thing I just want to share a story too. My mom is going to be 99 this summer.
Oh my gosh. Oh, how fun is that?
She is a hoot. And she
sings.
She sings. She used to play guitar. She used to dance. She can't quite do that these days. But she
taps her toes.
She's always stomping her feet. And just, she never stops. And it's so great. And she's just the happiest woman. And she's such a rock star. But lives with that attitude, And she's always making fun too, right? She's a lot like you. So anyway, just sharing that little tidbit, because I have her genes.
Yeah. It's funny because I have a lot of relatives that lived well into their 90s. Lost my mom last year, and she was 91. But my dad was older than that when he passed. And will I make it that far? I don't know. Nobody knows. I mean,
you're gonna live today, right?
Yeah. My expiration date probably changed. Probably. There are so many things now that we can do, even when you're diagnosed with something as serious as what I was. 20 years ago, I would not be here now. And I think, there's advances made all the time in so many ways. I mean, like we were saying, when people finally figured out, hey, adding yoga, nutrition, meditation, all of those things, and acupuncture, when you add all of those, if you want to, I mean, there are some people like my mother, she was like, you're getting needles put in you. And I said, you probably don't want to watch. um, but yeah, all of those things are making a difference. And there are findings every day. And then of course, one of the things that I always love is we find that the things that they did hundreds of years ago are probably better in many cases, like acupuncture and things like that. And so yeah, it's all about, you have to advocate for yourself.
Well, that's true. And you can still add all those things in, but if you
Right.
don't change your mindset,
Right.
you know, change
Yeah.
your
If you think, oh
vibration,
gosh,
you know,
yeah.
um,
Mhm.
I can get really woo-woo and talk about vibration and
Mhm.
being part of
Mhm.
the universe.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
so anyway, that's just so beautiful and so important because it comes from within.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I want to know what's next for you.
Oh, I have news. I
Oh,
have
good.
news that you don't know because
Uh-oh.
I didn't put it in anything for the pre stuff. So, I mentioned that I have this business coach, Kathleen Caldwell, and I think the world of her. She is who encouraged me to do Tryingnottodie.live. She said, I didn't go through all of this without using it to help others. And I said, yeah, but I don't want to be cancer girl. And she said, no, you need to help people. And I already was. I mean, doctors would call me in when they would have students, so that I could talk to them and all sorts of things. But um, we're taking a long drive back over the Christmas holidays from Texas, right? It takes a day to drive across Texas. And I thought, are there things called cancer coaches? And so, I happen to have Wi-Fi access out there in the middle of nowhere in Texas and discovered that it's fairly new. I mean, there's obviously lifestyle coaches such as yourself, health and wellness coaches, all sorts of things. But a true cancer coach is a fairly new concept. And so I researched it and found a variety of different ways that I could receive certification. And I decided to see if I could get certified, just because that means I've studied more, all these various things. I mean, I got as much practical experience as a person could get, but you don't always know what you don't know. So I am in the process of becoming an integrated cancer coach. I will finish up March-ish. But I've added to it because I thought, okay, I don't know what I don't know. So I received a certification in happiness coaching. That was right, right. That's
Okay.
incredibly important with this. But it's not on the flip side. It's in addition to, just yesterday, I was certified as a grief counselor. And then I'm also studying trauma and PTSD, because anybody who thinks you don't have PTSD after dealing with some of this stuff
Oh
is,
my goodness.
yeah, and so, and my plan is just to be able to help people with this journey, because our medical folks, unless you truly need a therapist, which many people do, and that's perfectly fine, kind of this in between, I'm just wanting to talk to somebody, but my friends don't get it. That's the role that I am looking for.
Mm.
And so yeah, so hopefully by
That,
March-ish we will do that.
wow. That is so amazing, amazing, really outstanding. And just your zest for learning more and
Hmm.
more education yourself and then everybody else,
Hmm.
right? Because they need to be educated too.
Right. Yeah.
And now you're just, damn, you are a warrior. I love it. A
Yeah. It says
warrior.
so. It says so on my arm. See, look, there it is.
Great. Beautiful.
And so for those who are just listening, I have a tattoo of warrior on my forearm. And it's on my forearm because when I am at the doctor's office, I can see it, I can touch it. It's not on my back or my arm or, anywhere where I can't access. I can touch it. And frequently I will have my hand on it. And then there's lots of other little images around it. And those are my angels. who were watching out over me. I mentioned that my mom just passed away. It's been almost a year ago. And so she's the newest one. And I've told people, stop dying, stop it. But so she is the sunflower that is there because she was from Kansas. And, you mentioned energy and all of these things. And this might just be in my head, but that's okay because it's a good thing. The area around my tattoos is often warmer to the touch than the other skin on my arm. And to me, that shows that my angels are there looking out for me. And because they are part of my tribe. In fact, they might be some of the most important tribe members.
Nice, nice. And tribe is really important too. And I'm always trying to bring women together, and people together in general.
Right.
Not just women. I have musicians gatherings I bring together, and women's groups I bring together. But having tribe, having support, being able to ask for what you need, right?
And we don't ask, right? For whatever reason, we don't say, "Hey, Paulette, I need help."
Yeah. So that's great. So we're doing it.
I know. I love it. I love it. And it's interesting because like I said, we don't always ask for help. We often don't ask for help. I think we, especially as women, and actually men too, because they don't want to admit that, we never want to admit that we need help. And so, and we need to, and I don't care what it is, maybe it's, I need a hug. I need somebody to go to the grocery store. I had told people when I was in the hospital for so long, they had told me, they said, you need to be outside and get fresh air and sunshine, right? That was going to be one of the best things for me. Well, I had to use a walker. And can you see me? Right. But more importantly, I knew I could easily just keel over. And my husband had gone back to work by that point. And so I put a post on Facebook and I said, I need people to come walk me 15, 20 minutes a day. And we have this absolutely gorgeous walking trail right by our house. But then, because me being me, I said, leash provided.
Yeah, and
I had people that came. And I had people who said, "Oh, we wish we could," but they weren't close or their schedules didn't allow, and things like that. But I had several people every week that would come and walk me. But yeah, we have to be honest with ourselves first to say, "I need help." And then be honest with people to ask for it. And one of the things that always happens when somebody is going through anything like this, and even, loss of someone or good things too, right? We say, hey, Paulette, just tell me if you need anything. Well, our brains can't grasp that. Plus, we don't want to be a bother. But if you were to say, can I bring you dinner? Can I take you for a walk? Can I take your kids to a movie? Then my brain can go, ooh, okay. And so I might ask for something different, but be specific and tell people what you can do. Because we don't want to bother, and and sometimes we don't even stop to think, I might be nice to get dinner delivered.
True. It is true. And I've found myself doing that before too. Just, let me know if you need some help. Instead of saying,
because we want to be supportive.
Yeah.
But we don't know how. And so figure out what even if it says, can I come sit with you? I mean, I had people when I was so sick in the hospital who just came and sat. Now they freaked out when they walked in because I was bald. A dog groomer came in, and my friend who's a dog groomer came and took care of the hair that was falling out. And I had an NG tube, and I lost about 50 pounds in the hospital. So I looked hideous, but God bless these people who came and kind of went, oi, and then would sit with me. Because that was what I needed at that point. I just needed human contact.
Sure.
And they could talk. They didn't even have to talk to me. Sometimes we'd watch TV. Frequently, I would fall asleep. And so I would tell them, bring a book, but yeah, sometimes that's all somebody needs is just a little human contact, and especially if they've been ill and not able to get out and about. Find out what they love watching, and binge watch something on TV with them, all sorts of things, or call them, text them, FaceTime with them if you're, not able to visit them in person. Just let them know that you're still there and you're thinking about them.
Yes. So good. So good. Well, Deb, what a pleasure.
Oh, this has been a delight, Paulette.
And I think we could probably talk for a long time, but
I know we could.
we'll wrap it up there. This is beautiful. I'm so glad to have you here, and I'm so excited for your new adventures.
Thank you.
So super cool. I'm glad that you have brought yourself, to this place. Everybody, of course, helped you, but
Mhm. Yeah.
you did it. And that's so beautiful. And
Well, thank
everybody
you.
out there in Heart and Hustle Land, thank you again for being part of our tribe, our community, of curiosity, exploration, empowerment,
Mhm.
support, inspiration. I just love it. I just love it. And lead, invigorate, voice, and elevate your
Mhm.
life.
For everything.
Ah, so good. So good. All right. Until we meet again, many blessings. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Deb, for being here. And
Thank you.
until next time.